Hi, and welcome to the Real Women of Boxing. My name is Jacqui-Lee Pryce, and today's guest is a former member of GB Boxing. She dominated the amateur scene and is now storming into the pro scene. Gemma Richardson. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. So, how's life treating you before we get into it?
Good. I'm like really just enjoying what I'm doing at the minute. There's been a lot of changes in my life in like the past year, so I feel like I've obviously done a big jump from the past 6 years of my life to now, but I'm really just loving my life, like every aspect of it, boxing, outside of it, just everything. I'm loving it.
I'm glad to hear that. Um, So I always say this. I always think that if people don't know who you are, then they've been living under a rock. But for those people that don't know, there's levels to this game, isn't there? Levels. Um, just give us a quick rundown as to what you won in the amateur scene.
So in the amateurs, I won 5 national titles. I won 4 European gold medals. I won, a youth gold world won the worlds, so I got a gold in that, and then I got a Commonwealth silver medal in Birmingham 2022.
Not too bad at all. So listen, before we get all deep into uh, everything that happened on the amateur scene, just take me back to when it all started. Why did you get involved in boxing?
I've been in the boxing gym since I was 6 years old, so I really just grew up in the sport. I don't think it would have been a sport I would have ever chose myself if it wasn't for my brother and my dad. My dad coached my brother, and I was just that annoying little sister running in between everyone, getting in everyone's way, annoying all the lads at the time. And I just really naturally probably picked it up because after every day at school, I'd be in the gym with them, not really participating so much at 6, but I'd be in the gym. So naturally, I'd just probably know stuff before really like learning it. And then at 8, my dad was like, right, I want you to just train, not to compete or anything, just to keep fit, keep like like off the TV, keep like just doing something active. And then from 8 onwards, I was just obsessed with it at 10 years old, watching my brother compete and get like his hand raised and seeing how exciting it was. I was like, I want to be just like him. And then from 10, I was like, Dad, I want to compete. And he never wanted me to compete. He never wanted me or my brother to compete because it was going to be a different level of commitment then. And I was like, no, I really want to give it a try. And then I've just never looked back. And I'm still here.
It's one of those things, isn't it, that boxing just once it gets under your skin.
Yeah, you're just hooked forever. Yeah.
100%. And it's interesting that your dad was involved, but he didn't want you or your brother because usually it's the girl, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm guessing it was about confidence that he was trying to build confidence in you guys as well.
Yeah, he was, I think, because he came from a background of always doing like he was a kickboxer when he was growing up, but he never had the dedication to compete. So he never took it to that level. So I think he always wanted us to be involved because I think boxing's so good for that kind of confidence. Being in that gym environment is very a family orientated sport, isn't it? I think like every gym you go to, there's a family in it. And I think he just wanted us to be active and like be doing something on the evening instead of just being in front of the TV or the Xbox or whatever. So it was something for us to do, but he just said, it's all right, doing that for fitness, but then he was like, competing's a different game. Like, you've got to be dedicated. You've got to take the training up a level." And he was like, "You're not doing." He never wanted us to do that because it is. You've got to dedicate your life to it if you're going to compete. It's a dangerous sport. And he was like, he never wanted us to do it because he was like, it's going to be hard. And then, like, he didn't know if we'd be able to do that and, like, if we'd be able to dedicate our time because he never could do that when he was younger. So never mind, obviously, a 10-year-old, and my brother at the time was 10 when he first competed, so asking 2 10-year-olds to probably, like, dedicate the time and get that upper level is hard, but me and my brother both stuck to it, and I'm lucky that I had my brother. I think he was a massive inspiration for that, and he helped push me to them levels where I did stay committed and dedicated to it and got all the training done. But yeah, he was like, once we secured that, my dad was happy for both of us.
It's interesting that from such a young age, you guys were so determined to get involved. And I've heard quite a few boxers say that their parents have said to them, listen, if you're going to do it properly or don't bother.
Yeah, it's a tough sport to do, and I think it's not one of them that you can just be half-hearted in, like, you could get hurt if you don't take it serious. It's not something you can just turn up maybe, like, on a football Sunday league, just have a kick about with people. you could get hurt, and I don't think anybody would want to see that, especially for the kids. So I just think he was a bit concerned for that. So he was like, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it right or don't bother at all. And yeah, I think he had every right to say that as well. And he was true, like, he was right with that.
And I guess then there's a little bit of determination that kind of creeps in for you kids as well, as if like, whether you're kind of aware of it or not, that you want to show him that I can do this.
Yeah, of course. I think my brother definitely did that. And obviously, I'm like 4, 5 years younger than my brother. So when he was doing it, I was like, I want to be just like him. Like, I think I kind of wanted the attention on me as well. Like when James won a fight, everyone was so buzzing for him. I was like, I want to feel that like excitement that's around that. So I think that really helped me. And I was like, I want to be just as good as him. I want to be doing what he's doing. And I want that like buzz. So that really like helped.
And then, so you start obviously getting quite serious about it, but was there a moment, can you remember? I know you were quite young, but can you remember kind of when things started to sort of click for you and you kind of knew you were going up through to a next level?
Yeah, I think, well, when I was younger, I didn't really understand, even though I was competing in it, I didn't really understand boxing. So when I went for my first nationals, I didn't have a clue what a nationals was. I didn't really understand it. I just thought, oh, I win and I get some golden gloves, and that's like really cool. James has got a pair. It'll be cool to have a matching pair with him. And then when I got in England, I still didn't really understand it compared to the girls on there with me. But I think when I started going to like when I got on England, I think that's a major achievement. Like actually being able to box for your country, like, nothing will ever, I remember the time I got told that, I was like, I didn't even think you could do that in the sport. Like, I was so, like, naive in the sport. I didn't know what you was capable, like, what was capable, because obviously this was before the time of the Olympics for the girls, like, this was before 2012. So you didn't really hear many stories, and I was very out the loop. I just went to the gym, trained, and boxed, and my dad, like, looked after everything else. So I think when I got on England, I was like, "This is crazy, like, I'm boxing for England, my country." And then obviously going to my first Europeans, and not really having, I didn't have any pressure on me. I was just like a baby of the group, first time going, and then to medal, I got a silver medal that year in my first European. So I thought, I've just come and I've medalled and I beat the European champion from the year before. So I think that's when it really twigged and I started taking an understanding then of what it's all about.
Obviously, before 2012, for those that don't know, obviously 2012 was kind of a pivotal moment specifically for women because there had been no GB female team up until 4 years prior. So whatever that was, 2008. Um, so yeah, they had that kind of 3 to 4 year cycle. But prior to that, there was only England boxers, and even then, like, there was no funding or anything, was there?
No, literally no. So I was so out the loop with it. Obviously, I was in the sport, but for many years, but I didn't know, like, it could go on to be your job. I never knew, I just thought it would always be a hobby. I didn't know you could make it your job. I didn't know you'll go abroad to fight. Like, I was literally so clueless to all of this. So it's not until I got onto England and I think, well, I met my best friend in the sport, Simran, and she kind of was the one that, like, started, like, educating me on, like, Canadian. We used to share rooms, and she was more clued up on it. Like, she probably got told more stuff, where my dad was very much just like, "You train, I'll take care of the rest," and I'm grateful for that, to be fair. But it's when I started speaking to Simran, she started, like, being like, "This is what this means, and we could go here, and we could do this," and I was like, "This is crazy." I was like, "This is mad," and, like, just the people you meet and everything was just like, I was getting time off school to go abroad and stuff like that, and I was like, I didn't know this could happen, and I just loved it.
Was it a case of that your dad was trying to, I guess, keep the pressure off a little bit by not telling you, the weight of boxing for your country?
Yeah, definitely. I think he tried to protect me in all aspects of the sport. Like, growing up, I was very lucky to be in my dad's gym, so I never understand in other gyms, like, women's women's boxing was still a bit iffy at that time because obviously this was before the Olympics. So some of the old school coaches probably didn't agree with the girls boxing. I know a lot of girls had problems with that. And my dad tried to really protect me from that because I was just like the lads in my gym. I'd go spar and I'd do everything. So I think he really just tried to take the pressure off me. And still now to this day, I'm 23 and I've had so much experience in boxing. And still to this day, he's like, you just concentrate on training and fighting, and I'll try and take care of the rest in every way, shape, form he can. I know I've always can rely on my dad. And now John as well. Like, we always have a laugh. Like, John never knew he was going to sign up to be my coach and, like, my mentor in life. Like, I'm really lucky to have a good team around me for that.
Are you paying him extra?
Nope.
John, just saying. Add it to your purse, that's all I'm saying.
Don't be telling that because he will.
So you talked about your first, international competition being the Europeans, yeah? Was there any sort of moments in that, obviously, other than kind of getting that medal, were there any moments that kinda stand out to you as most memorable?
It was crazy because I was gonna miss my, GCSEs for it, so it was very along them, like, so I think it was so crazy that I was in a sport where I feel like as growing up, you're so, like as a kid, you're so, like, GCSEs are so important, like, this and this and this, until I realised I was at that level of sport where there was exceptions to go there because it's such a great achievement for your country, and school was so on board with it, and, like, when we was there, it was just crazy. We went to Turkey, like, meeting all the other countries and becoming friends with them and watching everything and having like that. Do you know what? The team bond that year was so good. And every year it's been good on the teams, but like you just make friends with people that you never probably would make friends in the normal world with, that are so like worlds apart from you. Like you like we always used to say, like me and Timran, if like we met each other in school, we probably wouldn't have been friends, or like other people like Elise and everyone, we're so different to each other. But I just apart from the boxing, just having like 10 days with your friends and like having a sleepover all the time and like being on camps together, like it's so much fun, especially at that age. Like it's just memories for life.
It's interesting that you say that there were people that you are now friends with that you would never become friends with. I think that's effectively what sport does.
It is, yeah. It honestly, it is, and I love it. Like, I always say, like, I am so glad I did boxing because I couldn't imagine my life just going to school. Like, I had like two, it was like I had like two worlds, like two lives. I had my like friends in Scunny, and I had my like life there and school and all that lot. Which I've got great friends there. I've got great friends, great family. But then I could literally go off after school, go on a 2-hour car journey with my dad on a Thursday night, go sparring somewhere like completely away from home, have a spar, have a fight with someone for 5, 6 rounds, hug each other, have a great laugh after, have a bit of food with them after, then drive home, and I'd just be at school the next day, like, it's literally like 2 worlds, and I say, like, even now, like, I've known John since I was well, 2017 I met him, and it's like, who would have thought there I'd been moved up, like, into Hartlepool, like, little scunny, like, Gemma, like, from an early age, she like, the things I've done and the places I've seen and the friends I've made and the memories, like, it just doesn't like, you just don't think it's ever gonna happen, so I think I'm so grateful that I got into this sport for that as well as obviously what boxing is.
Yeah, those relationships, they're just, they're lifelong relationships. And I think you talk about the sparring, you beat each other up and then you have a hug after. There's a level of intimacy, I think, from, I don't know, that sounds weird, but from being vulnerable in the ring, fighting each other, possibly hurting each other, getting one-upmanship. There seems to be a bit of a vulnerability there. Do you know what I mean?
It is definitely, and I think especially on England and GB, like, when you live with that team for so many years, like, especially on GB, you're there every week. You see each other at such low lows and such high highs. Like you are literally like we always used to say like we're with each other more than what we're with our family in the year. So like you can see someone lose or get a bad spat or get injured. Like you are with each other literally at rock bottom at times to then the highest of highs. Like the relationship on bond you make after them experiences for so many years. It's hard to explain to someone that's probably not had that, but it's crazy in a way, it's 'cause it is, it's like the bond you create's amazing.
When people talk about, "Oh, you took a loss," and sometimes to try and explain that loss to a non-boxing person, it's so difficult. It's so difficult because there's no rhyme or reason as to sometimes the way that you feel. You've just gotta kinda ride through it, and at least somebody in your team they've been there, they've felt those emotions.
They've been there, they've done that. They've been well, I think, like, a lot of people on the outside of boxing probably don't see what goes into that competition or that fight, so you work so hard for most of the year or leading up to that competition or fight, and for it all to be over like that and a loss, like, it takes it out of you, it's horrible, isn't it? No one likes to lose anyway, but when you put that much effort in and you think you're the best shape of your life, you're the best you've been, you're so ready for it, like, you're so confident, and then to get that loss for whatever reason, it is hard to take, and like, it is emotional, and it can get tough, and people are like, "It's just a loss, like, just get over it." It's like, they don't you can't really understand it unless you've been in that situation. I think it's so nice to have the teammates and that who get it, they get you, they've been there, they've done it, and that's why it's nice to have them to relate to and talk to and everything.
They will know exactly what to say and when to say it. And there's sometimes saying nothing is enough, just being there. It's just being there. And, when people say, well, it's just a loss. Well, you work for 4 years, day in and day out,
Honestly, and then come back and tell me.
and then come back and talk to me about,
It is that.
yeah, it does make me laugh when people go, oh, well, it's just a lot. And listen, I know sometimes people are just trying to make you feel better, but it's like, say less.
Yeah, it's just like, "Do you know what? Don't even say anything. Just come back in a couple of days and I'll be sound. But just let me get over it."
You talked about GB. What is it like being in that high pressured environment day in and day out?
It's tough. I feel like it takes a toll on you, especially I was in there for quite a few years, so it's good, like, it's so hard, like, asking me this now because 'cause I've got such mixed emotions, mixed opinions on it. I had, like, some of the best times of my life there, and I really did. I've been there since I was 17, so I literally grew up in that environment, but it's tough. I feel like you always feel like you're competing, you always wanna it's there's a lot of cliques, there's a lot of this in the in the team. It's a team, but is it a team? There's a lot of cliques, there's a lot of this. It's a hard environment to be in. I think it toughens you up from a young age. I think if you mature quick, you've got to be switched on and that. And it, for the boxing aspect, obviously you get a lot of experience. You get to go places you've never been, and there is good laughs. But it's you've got the pressure on you. You can feel the pressure for definite, I'd say.
Would you say the hardest part of being on GB is either physical or is it the mental aspect?
I'd say mental. Definitely mental. I think everyone has different experiences with it, so I can't speak for everyone, but I know a few people would probably agree with me and definitely for me, it was the mental aspect. 'Cause since being on England, you're used to on camps training 3 times a day. When I was with my dad, I'd train twice a day, or if I had something coming up, I'd probably train 3 times a day. So your body can get used to something like that. Don't get me, it's tough. Training's tough in general, but after a while, your body kind of adapts. You can have a few achy days, but your body can get through it. But the mental side of it that comes with it, and the stuff that gets thrown your way while also trying to do the physical side of it, can be very challenging at times.
I was speaking to an ex-GB boxer the other week, and they were saying, people often say, because there's obviously everyone wants to get on GB, and it's the fantasy, and I think the fantasy versus the reality, my understanding is very, very different. And people seem to think that it's almost going to be, well, I enjoy training, so therefore it's going to be a breeze. That's not the case, is it?
No, there's a lot, and that was me. I was like if you hear stories, I feel like growing up, I heard stories about being on GB, and I heard bad stories and good stories, and you hear the bad, and because your dream, and like you kind of forget about the bad ones. You think, ah, it's not going to be that, it's not going to be that, and you hear like the tough times people have, and you think, ah, it's not going to be that. I'm going to get on there, and I'm gonna love every second of it, and I'm gonna thrive there. And then you get there, and it is tough, and then you start seeing, like, what it's like and how hard it can be mentally. You've got to deal with it, and, like, it's how you deal with it and how you react to it, but it's testing. I think you look around and you think, "Am I the only one feeling like this?" But it's not until you talk to the others that's like, because then that can feel quite hard to deal with as well if 'cause if everyone you look around and you think everyone's enjoying it because everyone puts a smile on their face, and you it's hard because you do enjoy it, but then sometimes it's like, just put a smile on your face and act, and it's like, is it just me that's feeling like this? But I think a lot of the time when you actually speak to GB boxers and, like, the other people in the team, it's not, and you can also become there for your friends in that way as well. I think that's why you get really close to some people on GB with your, like, friends that you've got that bond with forever, 'cause you can really open up and they open up back, and, like, you've got each other's back in that sense as well.
I remember talking to one of your teammates about a similar situation, and what came up for me was it would feel like you have to be very careful because it's a competitive environment on who you are vulnerable with, who you open up to, because I understand this as an actor. So when you take the competitiveness and the job out of it, realistically, would you tell certain people that you were feeling down and vulnerable? But it's the isolation, isn't it, that kinda, I think, makes you more vulnerable. And then you think, "Oh, this person's safe to go to."
Yeah, it honestly is. It can I think it can feel you can feel the loneliest you'll ever feel on that team because like and it's weird because you post about, "Oh, Team GB and you're a big team and all this," but the amount of times I probably posted that and I felt so lonely. And I felt all on my own. I used to literally ring my mum up and I used to beg on days off, like, "Please come to Sheffield, please come and spend the day with me when I'm not training," because you feel so lonely, even though you got people surrounded by you, and it's honestly so hard to, like, pick and I only ever used to pick, like I've only got a select few people that I would trust with my heart on that team, because it is you just gotta be so careful, like, it's so hard to explain, like, the clicks and everything, like, when you pick someone, like, you've gotta have full trust in them, and I think that's something you learn on that as well, like, getting on it, and hopefully things change and, like, I can't speak for what it's like now, but I just think probably Instagram and social media and everything, it probably plans out to be when you're on there.
Through navigating who you can trust, does it make you a little bit more paranoid in a sense?
Yeah, of course, I think you've always like that, and that's with the boxers, that's with the staff, that's with the coaches, as sad as it is to say, because they're all supposed to want obviously the best for you, but it's like, is that the case? And I think you can get paranoid and you think you'll hear a lot of people there going, "This person thinks this about me," or this, and there's a lot of that, and actually it can get to you and it can make you like. I think I used to phone my mum and dad up all the time, like, being paranoid, and you're probably sometimes more paranoid than you need to be because of everything. It's so hard to navigate being there and who wants the best for you and what's this and what's that. It's hard.
Being in a high performance situation, I don't think anything can prepare people for that environment. I don't I even us talking about it, people will probably think, "Oh, I'm mentally strong, I can handle it."
I think when I met, John, 'cause John was an England coach, obviously a coach on England, so I knew him through there, and when I first came here for my first camp, he was like, "You're not the Gemma that you was on England." He was like, "You used to be so confident, you used to be, like, so this, so" and I was like and it's like, "You're not like that anymore," and I'm like, "I know." And I'm not, and I think he's like, "You're not the England Gemma I used to know that was so mentally tough and that." And I'm like, "Do you know, you're right, I'm not." And I look back at England Gemma, and I'm nothing like that. And, like, I think that's because of a few years of mental health with obviously being in that, high performance program, which is probably the same in lots of, like, job situations, but Joan was like, "We need to strip it back and just try and rebuild that now because we need that back." I was more confident when I was younger than I am now, even though I'm much more experienced and I've got like, more things behind me. It's a tough one to deal with, and I really want to try and work on that as well.
Let's lighten it slightly. There are moments where I remember how much, everyone was talking about this England Gemma Richardson, this talent. And one of the moments that you raised your head above adversity is when you got your injury. Just talk me briefly through that.
So in the start of 2022, went to a competition. It was supposed to be a big year because obviously the Commonwealth. So we started prep straight from January. So I was supposed to have a competition every month up until the Commonwealths to really like prepare. That was always the plan. And the first competition, I was in a bout in Serbia against a rough opponent who we knew was rough, and I was winning on the scorecards. So because of that, I think she tried to never meant to injure me, as in that extreme, but tried to rough me up a bit, which fair, like that's a good tactic to obviously have if someone's beating you. She threw me to the ground and my elbow just dislocated in 3 places. It fully went. It was a rare injury that no one had ever like, not many people had seen before, and, like, some, doctors now and all that, I think, are using it as, studies and that to study it, which is good because it was such, like, a crazy injury, and I got told I'd be out for at least a year. I thought, "Great, that was, like, me out of the way, like, I'm Commonwealth's, like, say goodbye to that." And I just remember going to Five Guys with my dad and crying into my burger, and I was like, "Dad, I'm gonna prove him wrong. I promise you I'm gonna prove him wrong." And with the physios at GB, who I am so grateful for in that step, like, honestly, like, without them, I wouldn't have done it. They got me to a point where I got the phone call and I was going to the Commonwealths, which was just absolutely mental. It was so tough to get there, and, like, it was a really well, up until last year, that was probably my hardest, time in the sport. So just to get to that Commonwealths, and even through the Commonwealths, it was so hard. I got that medal, and I think that kinda, like, changed the way for me a bit in some aspects, and, like, it was such a big achievement for me that, like, mentally, that I got through that injury and even the pain in the Commonwealths where I probably shouldn't have been competing to get that medal.
Where was that drive from at that sort of point in your life?
It was in reach, like, you think about it, and I always say I can remember on old interviews, like, the Commonwealths, the Worlds, the Olympics was always, like, the 3 big things in the amateur that I always wanted, and I was in plain target, like, I could see the finish line, like, it was the year I was, like, the number 1 to go, and I had all the competitions ready, and I think I just can't give up yet, like, I've gotta keep until they literally turn around before the Commonwealths and say, "Do you know what? You're still injured." I just thought, "I've gotta try, like, I've just gotta try. I can't just get told, 'No, you're not fighting for a year,' and that's it." I was like, If I try and then I'm not, then do you know what? The injury needs to be sorted, and that's just I'm not meant to be." So I just give it everything, and it was tough, and to be fair, like, the physios did help me on the days that I was like, "I don't know if I can do this anymore," and my family helped me, and I'm so grateful for that because I got there.
It's actually amazing to come back and find it somewhere in your soul, just do you know what I mean? Just to yeah, to fight back. It's, every time I hear that story, it's amazing. When you were talking about crying into your Five Guys, expensive burger to be crying into.
Expensive burger. My dad tried to cheer me up, and he just not cheer me up because the way to my heart's food, but, like, at that point, I was like, "I'll eat it, but it's gonna be drenched with my tears."
So, you're kind of back on track, everything's working out, and then you kind of end your amateur career in a there was a bit of controversy at the end of your amateur career. That's the polite way of putting it.
Like, it just went crazy, like, I just that time in my life now, looking back at it, I'm just like, it just happened all so quickly, but all so slow at the same time, like, I think it just all happened in such the wrong way. I found out on Facebook, which probably wasn't the best way to find out. Well, I didn't find out on Facebook, I actually had people ringing me, and that I didn't even know was telling me to go on Facebook, so people found out before me. Another opponent from another country was coming over when I was at camp that day, so I think that was such a shame to hear that 2 weeks before I was going to a competition to find out who was going to the last qualifiers, and I hadn't been to a qualifier yet. I had a lot of problems with my injury, like, since the Commonwealths, I always knew the elbow would probably always need to be managed, and it was never gonna get fixed from how severe the injury was. So I had a lot of time, like, having to sort it out after fights, but that year before, I literally boxed, I think, 14 times that year. So I was active even though the reason I didn't go was because of my inactiveness, but we'll get onto that. So I was getting ready for this competition. Me and Shona was obviously going to come back home from 2 weeks before we went to America for this competition to see who was going to the qualifiers, to get a phone call and found out on Facebook. I think we should have just been told by GB. We was on camp that day. They knew. They could have pulled us into the office and said, "This is the scenario. This is what's going on." It was just a bit embarrassing to find out on Facebook and find out people ringing me up, and I'm like, I've been on GB for however many years. I see them more and find out they're my team, they're my coaches, and to find out on Facebook just felt a bit, like, thrown in my face. So, at the time, I kinda knew it was over, but I didn't think anything of it. I went back to camp, I was like, "I'm just gonna prove in this America."
Just so that I can recap for people that are tuning in, you are basically on the road to recovery. You kinda know you're gonna have to manage this thing, but everything's looking like, "Okay, I can see the Olympic trials and the Olympics in my sights." and you are literally getting ready for the qualifiers.
2022 was a bit of a write-off. I went to the Commonwealth, so obviously got that medal. I had the rest of the year out. Got told I was inactive. 2023, that's why I didn't go to the first qualifier. I was inactive, which I agreed with. I was like, "Do you know what? Can't argue with that." 2023, I was trying really hard. I went to every tournament I could. I think I went to three or four tournaments, had 3 or 4 fights every tournament, medalled at every single one, got gold medals, lost a close fight to Kelly Harrington. Like, I was in the I was back and I felt good. 2024 came around. 2 weeks away, we got told we're going to this competition in America. You and Shona, everyone at every weight class, 2 boxers was being put in it, and whoever got the furthest would go. 2 weeks before, came home, everything's going good. I get the news that Ireland of GB are putting Amy on from Ireland on GB. So I thought that's a lot of background stuff to sort out for her just to maybe be going anyway. 2 weeks later, got to the airport for America. I asked one of the coaches, I said, will Amy be coming to this competition? Like, is she competing? Told me, oh, I don't know. Surely you've got the passport. Surely you've got the flight details. Like, if she's booked on, like, she can't just. 2 minutes later, she walks in with a full GB tracksuit. So I thought that answers that. Okay, so I've been like misled again. Told me I don't know. I was like, whatever. Got there and thought I've just got to do my best in this competition. We had a training camp, and then we had the competition. Got to the competition and got told Amy won't be competing. She's just here on a training camp. So I was like, well, how can she be assessed if she's not competing when it was supposed to be whoever got furthest? But I was like, I'm just going to do the competition, see how it goes, try my best in that. I got the furthest out of the both me and Shona, so I got to the final. Boxed 3 times, boxed 2 girls, beat got to the final, lost against the Chinese girl who ended up getting the silver in the Olympics in 2024 anyway, against Kelly. So I boxed both Kelly now and the Chinese, had really good fights with them. There was any chance I had to probably win it. A week later, got back to camp. We was all waiting to be told.
I do want to take it back to the fact that you're going to a qualifiers, and obviously I know some of this story from Shona Whitwell's point of view. You're getting ready to go to a major competition, and there's this kind of thing, you're aware of this thing bubbling underneath the surface with Amy, and that's Amy Broadhurst. And of course, I have to say she's never been able to, at this point, give her side of the story. But, this is obviously your podcast. How does that affect you, your preparations, first and foremost?
Do you know what? Honestly, when I found out, I was just like, looking back at it now, it's so wild, like, thinking about it. You're so hurt, you've got the other teammates probably laughing and joking. I felt me and Shona hadn't spoken in years. The only person we could really speak about it was her, so we ended up speaking. It's actually mental how that happened because we could relate to each other. But I was like, it was so hard to prepare for this fight when you knew really what was going on. And it really took a lot of, like, people around me to help me to pull yourself up and to compete in that circumstance, I think. And I think it takes a lot of, like, mental preparation to be able to go and then compete, to try and go. It's already pressure on you anyway to go try and qualify. Like, this is your dream, since literally boxing has been allowed in the Olympics for girls. This was literally the dream. So to get that far and then really have the pressure on you to get there and then have this hurdle in the way, it takes a lot on you. Like, it is just tough, it was.
If they'd have given you a heads up before you'd gone to the competition, and it was all kind of above board that she may be coming on board, do you think that would have changed your mentality and made you a little bit more competitive to get to win your place? Is it, I guess what I'm asking you is it the fact that it was done in such a kind of underhand way that affected you the most?
Yeah, I think it's hard to be. You've got a team there that you've been with for 6 years. I've been there since I was 17. You've got a team who they're supposed to care about you, their coaches. They've been in the ring against these opponents with you. They're supposed to be the ones that care and want the best for you, absolutely possible. So you kind of feel betrayed. So it's like, who can I trust now? Can I trust this person in my corner? Can I trust that person taking my spar? Are they saying all this to me and then going off behind my back and obviously organising this? Like, people always say, you're just a number. And I think that's really the part where I felt like I was just a number in 6 years of them developing me. them getting me to this stage, and we wasn't good enough. Like, your own country, your own girls from your own country wasn't good enough in their eyes. And I think when you're with them, like, week in, week out, I think if I was with my dad and I went to that competition and she was there with them, I know my dad's got a full belief in me and wants the best for me. But when you're literally with them every week, for them to go behind your back, it's kind of hard to process that, to then have to still have that relationship with them, go to that competition, then want you to win, want you to do well. It's a lot to take in, a lot of aspects change, and I think I would have had more respect if they just told me and kept me in the loop and was like, "This is what's happening. You've still got the chance." But how it went about, it just felt like I was just betrayed.
You talk about betrayal, and that's a word that Shona used as well. And I wonder if you've ever thought whether this was a calculated decision to withhold that information ahead of the qualifiers.
Yeah, I think it was. I think probably it would have been a lot more kick-off maybe if we found out. I'm not sure. I don't know how they would have wanted us to react. They still wanted us to go to that competition. I remember getting a phone call and being like, "This is what's happening, but you've still got a chance. Still go to that competition still." So I think would that, like, they still wanted us to go. They still wanted us to go to the training camp, to go on camp, go to the thing. Would we have left earlier? I'm not sure. I don't really know what could have happened, but there was definitely a reason why they didn't tell us, and why. I think the decision was already made because she didn't even compete in that competition. So us going to that one, we both competed. I got to the final, but I didn't go. So I think that she didn't even compete in that. She didn't even, like, if she got into that competition and then she won it, you can't really argue with it. But the fact that, like, that didn't even happen, like,
This is what it feels like to me. Not only did they make their minds up, and maybe I'm just suspicious, but it feels like almost because listen, when you're in that environment, you can feel a vibe. You can feel when something's going on.
looking back now, because that wasn't even the hardest bit for me. Because I think as an athlete, no matter what comes your way, like, you can have a lot of personal probably problems in your life and you've still got a competition. It's still your job at the end of the day. So I think having that competition probably helped me focus and probably not react or have the emotions that I did. So I still had that set drive. And I was still, like, really focused on that goal of, I'm still going to this competition. I'm fighting who's so and so, so and so. I've got 3, 4 fights to do yet. So I need to be locked onto that. No, at that point, you're not even probably thinking about the Olympics because it's another competition first you've got to deal with anyway. Like, this isn't about the Olympics now. This is like, I've got a fight. This is like the fight I had 2 months ago. I want to win it. I want to get a medal. I want to do that. So I really think that actually helped me keep focus. When I found out I wasn't going, that's really when my life and boxing and my mental health really took a toll on it, because then I was fighting for nothing anymore.
We know you can't get passports, you have to obviously submit the paperwork, you have to do all those things before you even get to the competition, right? So that had to have been done. And so therefore, it almost makes me feel, I mean, when you try and make someone feel that uncomfortable, either they leave or they do badly, so then they leave.
The crazier thing is, like, for me, so we came back, I obviously got picked for the reserve, which to me says, if Amy wasn't there, I was the one going, which is more frustrating because I had to go to Thailand, which was, I honestly don't know how I managed to do it. So I came back after I found out I wasn't going. I was supposed to, I think we found out on the Monday or whatever. I left camp, like, I found out I wasn't getting picked, left camp. I think I spent the week in bed, didn't get out of bed, didn't eat, didn't get out of bed, didn't speak to anyone. My family tried to get me out of bed. One of the coaches on GB who, to be fair, the one coach on GB who I did get on really well with and I did trust in her, he phoned me and he was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I ain't got out of bed." And he was like, "I don't blame you." Like, and he was like, "We need to know if you want to come to Thailand. You're the reserve." So that's so hard for me as well because I'm like, she wasn't here, I was going, and now I've still got to go to the qualifiers. I was going for the training camp. So I was literally being in that environment where all the boxers there, uh, the ones going to the Olympics and going to the actual qualifier. It was so tough. And do you know what I thought? And I didn't give up. I thought there's still a chance that if I miss out on the Thailand training camp and Amy injures herself or anything, then I'd never live with myself. I got myself out of bed, but I didn't go. I said, "Can I just meet you at the airport. I said, "I don't want to come into camp. I'll train at home. I'll meet at the airport and I'll go." And that probably was the toughest part of my life, being in Thailand.
What was it like to walk into that whole scenario then with all of those team members that you've known for years, but all of a sudden now the kind of relationships have kind of
It was hard, like, obviously I had the 2 girls, Sav and Elise, like, they was the best they could be. Obviously, they was competing and they was, like, the best they could be for me, and I'm so grateful I had them 2 on that trip. Especially Sav, like, Sav was, like, my literal best mate, like a sister to me on that, so she was great with me, like, she really was, but everyone else, it was so hard 'cause I was there as part of Team GB, but I didn't get bothered with. From that point, none of the coaches really spoke to me or bothered with me. Amy was the new number 1, and it's so weird 'cause for years, she'd be with the other team, she'd be with Ireland, we'd spar, we'd talk tactics to beat her, all the time and attention's going to her, and I was just on the back burner watching, and I was like, it was just it was crazy. She had, like, the Team GB kit with her name on it, and I was like, "This is absolutely insane," and obviously, I think 'cause it was so controversial on social media, and in that time, I was so hurt and so angry, I shared some things, which should I have shared? Probably not, and I don't think the coaches like that, and I felt so lonely at that point. I got through Thailand, and I tried to go back. They said about coming back for the 4 years and trying again next Olympics, and I went back, and I didn't tell anyone I went back, but at that point, the relationships was really ruined there. The coaches weren't really speaking to me. I didn't trust the coaches. I was just there. I was there for the lead up to the Olympics, so I was sparring them, getting them ready, and I was like, "Why am I helping? Why I'm literally just a punch bag at this point." I was just a moving punch bag. Really, that's what they needed me for. I wasn't getting the time, and I was just in a really tough place mentally. And at that point, I had 3 weeks off, and I said, "I can't do it anymore."
you talked about obviously there's a breakdown in the whole relationship, and you talked about posting things on social media. Do you wanna share some of the things that you posted?
I shared probably a lot of people what people put. So on Facebook, if someone did a post maybe not agreeing with, I think, do you know what? It blew up a lot bigger than I ever thought it would blow up. Like it was, and I don't even think GB probably expected it to blow up that much. It blew up. Like every time I opened, there was an article. There was press getting in touch with me for interviews, which I turned that down. And I shared just a few things. I just shared it or put on my story like I can't even remember what I put on my story, but I'd never did any permanent posts, but I just shared a lot of what other people put, and I probably put, like, a few posts on feeling, like, betrayed and that, which should I probably have done it? Was it probably a bit petty of me? Probably. I was still representing GB at that point, I was still contract with them, but I was so like, I went from it was so weird, I went from so upset to pure anger.
I'm sure everybody that's tuning in would be like, "To be fair, I would have done that a long time prior."
Do you know what? I don't even think I was as bad as what I could have been. Like, I wasn't really putting anything crazy on, like, I was just sharing what other people said. Like, if someone tagged me in something, I'd just share it to my story and that. Like, I didn't actually really write much myself. I probably did I think I did a couple going about karma when, and it's not Amy's fault. It's really not Amy's fault. Like, it's a selfish sport, and she had to do what she had to do. She's got no loyalties to me.
And it's interesting because, and I'm not saying everybody, it affects people in different ways, but I was thinking you don't actually blame her. You've talked about loyalty and you've talked more about them. And so my question would be, do you hold any resentment against Amy? Number one. And do you honestly think that if most people were in that situation, would they do the same thing?
Yeah, do you know what? At the time, I was probably angry at her, but I knew her, we spoke, we got on when we was on training camps or whatever, but she had no loyalties to me. It's a selfish sport. You've got to do what you've got to do to get your dreams. She didn't get picked for Ireland. She's got to do what she's got to do, and if you're given that opportunity, are you gonna pass it up? If that happened to me, would I pass it up? Probably not, because it's a selfish sport. So she took what she had to do for her. I don't think I ever said I was angry at her, I don't think, but yeah, I soon realised this isn't about her, it's the karma was for GB for me. Like, they took such a massive risk and it didn't pay off. Like, they took a lot of backlash, they took everything, and if that paid off, they'd have been like, "We did the right thing." For me, it was more all that, all this backlash, all this trouble you've had to go probably behind the scenes to get that to happen, and it's not paid off. Like, that was for me, like, the karma, like, it was never I've not got no issues with Amy, like, she just probably got caught in the crossfire of it.
Like I say, if people tuning in would understand your response, Shona's response, and although I'm not in your body and I wasn't there, and but I can kind of empathise with how you guys must have been feeling, and that feeling of disloyalty turning into anger.
If you've ever had a really bad breakup, you go through so many emotions. I was in a breakup, like, that was to me, that's how I felt. I was upset, I was angry, I wanted to go back at points and try because it's all I'd known for 6 years. And it's like sometimes you have a bad breakup and you want to go back and you want to try, like, reconnect and, like, re-amend the situations, and probably some people probably think, "Oh, get over it," but I don't think I'll ever get over it. Like, now I can talk about it and I'll not cry. Before, I used to cry my eyes out if anyone brought it up, but it's just a part of my life that I'll just think I'll look back and I'll think it was the hardest time of my life by far.
My coach used to say about, certain people in boxing, they'll break your heart. And I kind of never really understood what he meant until it happened to me when I was coaching. And then I was kind of like, I get it. And it really hurts.
It really hurts, like, and I say, like, that is probably, like, my biggest heartbreak was that. And, like, I've had some tough, like, GBs, like we said at the start, it's mentally tough anyway. You go through a lot of mental times and, like, it is a tough thing, but that nothing would ever prepare me for that at all, and, like, I was heartbroken. I was quitting the sport. I didn't think I'd ever be back boxing, to be fair, 'cause I've completely and utterly fell out of love with the sport.
We've talked about it breaking your heart. And another thing I remember Mickey saying, I think it was Mickey, that you'll never end up giving 100% of your heart to the sport again. Is that the case for you?
Do you know what? I probably thought that was the case, like, I genuinely did, like, because, like you said, the things that break your heart is the things you love the most, and to me, like, it's so hard because I've got such negative opinions probably on GB, but I'm probably the worst person to speak to 'cause I've got such negative opinions, yeah. I've also got such great memories, and there was times in that 6 years that built me as the person I am today. It's so hard because 'cause I'm like, I hate it, I hate everything they did, I'm like, but I also love this, this, and this, and I'm the person I am, like, it's honestly so hard, and I genuinely thought that I was gonna quit. That's when I got talking to John and my family and everything, and I was like John was like, "Just come and give it a go. Just come up here and train," because he was really there for me out throughout all the past couple of years with GB, he was really there for me on the phone. Not because I think a lot of people think he poached me and wanted me to turn pro. He was the one after the Commonwealth that said, "Stay for the Olympics." Like, he was like, "Stay, do this." He never told me to turn pro with him. It was always my choice, and I asked him to turn pro in the end with him. I just wanted to get the love back for boxing. I think he wanted me to get the love back for it. So I was like, "I'm gonna take myself away, I'm gonna come up here, I'm gonna train, I'm gonna meet his boxers, his team." And gradually, the more I did it, the more the smile was on my face, and I was like, "This isn't right." I was quitting, I was done with it. And then I met Ant, who's my other coach up here, who's like the joint coach with John. And now I've had that first fight in the professional year, I can tell you, like, this team, my John, Dad, Ant, the Tenacity boys, I love my life, and I know they believe in me 110%, and they've got my back no matter what, and whatever they say is the truth. When they tell me the bad things and I'm the work on and everything like that, it's coming from such a good place. And, like, when they give me the compliments and think how good I am, they genuinely care for me, and, like, I didn't ever think I could trust anyone in the sport. I am so happy with the team I've got around me. And my mum always said this because obviously my mum's not really a big fan of the boxing, and she used to, like, hate me going to GB because I used to cry every Monday morning. I used to beg for her to come up, and she literally cried. They came up, my mum and dad came to visit me at my first camp. They came up and surprised me and stayed, like, the weekend, and, like, and my mum broke down crying and was like, "I am so happy," because she doesn't text me anymore. Like, I don't text my mum going, "I want to come home." Thing is, like, I don't get that anymore, and it's such a relief for her, obviously, not having a daughter in tears 24/7 or upset, and, like, she can really see that I'm loving my life, and I think a lot of people around me now can see, like, I'm such a different person to what I was, especially last year, but for a few years, and, like, it's like I've got, like, they've got their old Gemma back.
Some of the words that stuck out for me was that you were enjoying life again. You were enjoying kind of your new environment. Um, and the love for the sport again. And, it must be heartbreaking for a parent. They kind of I'm guessing, you're at a certain age where they wanna give you a little bit of space and a little bit of a boundary, but you're still their little girl.
Yeah, of course. I think it was so hard for my dad and my mum, like, opened up to me, and my dad will not like to hear this, 'cause I don't even think he even knows, but I think my dad found it hard as well. Whereas I've gone through this whole journey with him. He is literally, like we said earlier, he's done everything for me in every aspect. So for that to happen and then me just to completely shut down, like, lock myself in my room, and, like, even he didn't feel like he could know what to say or do at the time. My mum and dad and my family really felt it as well. Like, I remember my brother's not, like, lovey-dovey at all with me. Like, he's, like, my tough brother that would rather give me, like, stick than, like, be nice to me. Like, he was the one person that probably got me out of my bed in the end because, like, he came in and was like, "Come on, Gemma." I think everyone was worried for me. So it's so nice for them now not to have that.
Do you think that people really understand how this has affected you and your family before this conversation with me?
No, I don't think I've ever really opened up about it. I think, John and Anth up here, no, because John was obviously I was speaking to John the whole way through it, and that he's helped me a lot. But no, I think I did so well of just posting on social media like it was normal, posting like, "Oh, I'm getting my love back," but no one really understands it. And I think being a boxer, you come across as tough and you're supposed to hide everything, but I was vulnerable, like, my life flipped upside down, like, I had a dream since I was a kid, and for it to get ripped away from you like that and, like, what is you've got your goal set on something for so many years of your life, and then that's just gone, and it's not even your own fault or, like, you can't even, like, really blame yourself. It's like, now what? Like, my life was just like, since I was 6 years old, all I've ever known is boxing. I've never had a normal job. I'd, like, dedicated my childhood. I don't have many friends outside of, like, the sport. I have a few, but I didn't have that, like, going out and, like, having a big friendship group and doing this with them and doing that because I literally dedicated my whole life to boxing. So when, like, it happened, like, my life just literally flipped upside down. And I did go a bit, like I probably acted like a girl I wasn't. I was going out every weekend, like, staying out late, like, just I wasn't who I wasn't me, and, like, I literally did change, and I was like, "What am I doing?" Like, this like, I knew myself and the people around me knew, and they was watching me become someone I've never ever been in my life, and I think it was so hard, and they'd try and speak to me and be like, "Come on, let's get training," and I just didn't wanna be in a boxing gym, and I've never not wanted to be in a boxing gym, but it's really affected me, and I don't think people probably know or because it had happened to them, no one really everyone just moves on, don't they, with their life?
Social media, that is it's a difficult thing. It's a plus and a minus. It's a positive and a negative. You want everybody to see the best aspects of your life, and yeah, sometimes it's hard to be vulnerable because and especially now you're going into the pro scene because you don't know who's going to use it against you. But I honestly think that this is actually going to be a strength for you, for people to see you come from the lowest of the low, um, and being able to pull yourself through that. And yes, you've rebelled a little bit, and I think that's normal. And maybe that was part of the healing.
Definitely. Do you know what I always say, like, I had that, like, about a year out, I had a lot of time out the thing, and I think if I didn't do that, I probably wouldn't be here now. Like, if I just tried to get straight back into the boxing, unhappy, like, I don't think I'd have been here. I think I needed that time out. I needed really time to heal, and, now I can talk about it, and, like, do you know what it is, and I wasn't meant to go to that Olympics. Everything happens for a reason. I was not meant to go to that and, like, at the time, if you told me that, I'd be like, "Shut up," like, and cry and be like but now I'm like, I've accepted it. I wasn't meant to be there. I've got, like my dreams have changed. I've got new things. I've got this new life. I've got new doors opening, and I'm so excited for that. And like, I'm a happy fighter now. And like, for a few years, then I was fighting and I was winning these things anyway. Not happy, not like to like the happiest I could be. I was just doing it because it was getting me to that Olympics, and I had to do it to get to that Olympics. So now I'm so excited because now I am happy, and I think if I'm happy, like what can I really push myself to do?
Do you think that even if you'd gone back to Team GB and you found yourself in a similar situation of being unhappy, do you think you would have been strong enough to have walked away?
I did go back. I did go back, and I tried No one knew. I didn't post it on social media. I was embarrassed to let people know I was going back. But I did go back and I was unhappy and I was like, "Can I do," and in my head, I was like, "No, I'm gonna stay, I'm gonna stay." And it got to a point and I was like, and I had a week off and I was like, "What am I doing?" I was like, "What am I actually doing?"
What was the moment? What was the moment when you thought, "Hold on a minute."
Literally, we had a week off and I was at home for a week and I had no stress of going, of having to look behind my back, who trusts me, having to think like, "Is this person in my corner want the best for me? Is this person telling me what to do on the bag? Do they want the best for me?" That coach hadn't even spoke to me since I posted on Instagram, or like, well, since Amy got picked for it. It's like there were certain coaches that wouldn't even speak to me, and I said to staff, I was like, "Coaches, how am I supposed to be in this environment when coaches don't even want to speak to me?" And they was like, "Well," and this staff member said, "Well, maybe you should apologise." And I went, and I think after that I was like, "I can't do this. Like, why I'm apologising for sharing something on Instagram, which yes, probably I shouldn't have shared, but I can't get the blame for this. Surely this is not my fault." And at that point, I went home for that week and I thought, I can't go back. And I said, "Dad, that's it. I'm done. I'm texting." And I didn't even go in and say I'm leaving. I just sent a text message saying, "Please, can I be let go? Like I really, like I can't do it anymore."
Okay, you're better than me. You basically you turned over in November of last year, but you had your first professional fight in March of this year. So you get with VIP and you go out and you put on a lovely performance. You put on a lovely performance. And the thing that really struck me was even when they announced you, the confidence like seemed to have come back. You had a bit of a spring in your step. You owned the ring. Talk me through that experience of making that transition from amateur to pro.
Do you know what? It was crazy, like, especially the fight itself because it's so different to what I'm used to. Used to being abroad with no crowd there, no music, no glitz or glam. So to go there and have my family, like just everyone there, like shouting, like have that crowd, have the ring music, have all that. It's surreal in itself. Like you don't really get that in the amateurs boxing international at all. So it was just so much fun, and honestly I enjoyed it so much. Like I'm so glad I made that choice to go pro because I loved every minute of it, and I think it was hard to come through that camp because obviously I had such a big layoff and my head was all over the place, so that was a hard camp to get through, but I just feel like I'm gonna get better and better from here. Like, I'm in my second camp now, and I already feel 10 times better than that first camp. Like, now I'm like, Gemma's back.
If people tuning in from the amateur scene that know you know, having heard your story now, what do you think is the biggest misconception that they may have had about you?
Probably the biggest misconception is, in the amateurs, I think I'm known as, well, like, I used to get called industrial. And, like, I'm very rough and, like, very, like, rough and ready. I actually think I'm, like, the nicest person ever, like, I'm so down to earth and that, but in the amateur, I don't think I was known that. I think I was getting in the ring and people thought I was dirty, I was this, I was that, and I don't think, like, I think maybe when I was a kid, I actually probably was that, but I think people still think I am that, and my style is nothing like that. Yes, I've got an engine. I think I'm very fit in that, but I'm nothing like that. Like, I can box and I enjoy my boxing brain as well.
Sometimes though, when you're kind of rough and ready and you can kind of swarm someone and put it on them and relentless and you don't kind of give them a little bit of time to breathe, I think then there can be the misconception um, that nothing touches you, that you're hard as nails, that you ain't got you're not emotional. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, that's it. That is exactly. I think that's what people think about me, like they don't know me or they've heard about me or they've seen me. That's what people think of me, and I think I'm literally. I'd like to think I'm the complete opposite. Obviously, I've known you for like, a fair few years now, aren't you? So you'd probably be able to give a better one. But a lot of people don't expect when they meet me, I am the way I am because I feel like I'm just a normal 23-year-old girl that's like,
That smashes people up for a living.
yeah, and then I just love to fight.
If you could go back to your 16-year-old self before you started your GB journey, um, what would you say?
I'd probably tell him to not take everything so personal and like don't expect the loyalty back that you give out because if I'm loyal to someone, I'm loyal with all my heart and I think some people don't reciprocate that and I think I'd probably just tell her just to mind that out and like don't lose the confidence 'cause I think through that way, I lost the confidence in that, and I think I didn't need to, like, believe in yourself, 'cause I think in going through that, I didn't believe in myself, and I sometimes didn't believe I was good enough to be there no matter what, like, if my dad or my mum said. I didn't think I was good enough to be there, and I think, "Do you know what? Have the confidence because you was good enough to be there or you wouldn't have been there." That's what I'd have told myself, 'cause I think that would have made a big change in the way I enjoyed it and went about things.
Would you change anything?
Not at all. I'd never change anything 'cause I won't be here now. I don't know what would have happened, but I wouldn't have been here now. And I think that time in my life and everything, the injury, everything, anything in boxing that I've gone through, especially last year, it's made me who I am now. It's made me so cliche to saying it like, oh, it's made me who I am. It's made me tough, but it has. And I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't be here now. I might not have been with the team tenacity. I wouldn't have been here, which would be so sad because I love it. It's literally put me right where I needed to be.
You're back in camp. When do you think that your next fight, or when is your next fight gonna be announced?
I'm hoping in June, either the start of June or like the middle of June is what we're aiming for. We're just waiting for like the confirmed date, but it's definitely gonna be either side of that, but it's definitely in June. We're just waiting for the actual date, so not long.
So you're back fully and completely. Um, just lastly, what frustrates you the most about sort of the women's scene, and how do you think it can be rectified?
I think just probably for the big ones, obviously, people want the money to be the same and that, and I think everyone the opportunities for girls to be the same as the lads with the money and that, which would be nice. But I think that's a general, probably all over sporting thing, not just boxing. Female boxing, like girl boxing. I just want it to be boxing, like boy or girl. It's just boxing, isn't it? Like not, oh, it's girl like females. Let's just have it as boxing. Like we can be as good as the lads.
Having been through what you've been through, have you got any tips to share with people about how to protect your mental health within the sport of boxing?
I think you need to speak up to people. I think find somebody you trust, if that's a family member, a friend, a coach, and open up. I think it's such a tough sport that people think it's bad to open up, and it's well, it's just yeah, you shouldn't open up and you shouldn't be struggling with mental health. But I think really find someone and don't be scared to don't be scared to accept that you're probably going through it mentally because it happens. And I think once you accept that and you talk, it can get better. And I think just do that and love what you do, like, make sure you're in a place that you're loving, and, like, if you're not loving, then it's not right for you, like, something needs to probably change in the sport. If you love the sport, then you'll really enjoy it. I think you'll go further in it as well because 'cause you'll train, and everything just comes with that.
Great advice. Listen, thank you so much for sharing your story. I'm sure it's going to help a lot of people. I'm glad you're back on the road to be in England, Gemma. Looking forward to seeing you back in the ring soon.
Thank you. Yes.